Thank you for joining me on the journey. This is Completed Christianity. So welcome back once again, the next episode of Being Complete. So today is Shabbat, and we are going to continue on with our reading, our validation of the law commentary, reading in Galatians. And today for us is a high Shabbat, first day of unleavened bread. And so we thank you for joining us. Galatians chapter 4. And we're going to be on verse 15. We did through 14 last time. So he commends them that he says, in my trial, which was in my flesh, verse 14, you did not despise or reject. So he's kind of commending them for that. He said, what then was your favor? What was the favor that you got that you did not reject or despise? My trial that was in my flesh. What then was your favor? For I bear you witness that if possible you would have plucked out your own eyes and given them to me. So he's saying that they would have done anything for him in his trial and in his suffering. So then, have I become your enemy, speaking truth to you? So then you would have done anything for me. But now that I've come against your pagan days and your pagan ways, which he did in the last video that we talked about, now that I've come against your pagan days and your pagan ways, are you therefore against me because I tell you the truth? They are ardent towards you, they being the circumcision party, those who say that, all you got to do is get circumcision, you don't need that faith stuff, you know, Messiah, yeah, you can believe in him, that's fine, but all you need to be is circumcised and you're saved, you're a Jew, you're part of the life to come, that's all you got to worry about. Anything else doesn't matter. They are ardent towards you for no good, but they wish to shut you out that you might be ardent towards them. So ardent here is like passionate, zealous. So they're zealous toward you for no good. So they have zeal to get you, to convert you to their way. But it's for no good. And they desire to shut you out from Messiah that you might be zealous to them. And so that because they give you their way that is easy, fast, cheap, and tasty, they give you that way, and you don't have to strive, you don't have to run the race. All you got to do is get circumcised and your whole family's good, part of the life to come, no problem. And it is good always to be ardent in what is good, zealous for what is good, and not only when I am present with you, my little children, for whom I am again in birth pains until Messiah is formed in you. Even now I wish to be present with you now and to change my voice, for I have doubts about you. So he's saying that there's a reference into what he said above where he says, I'm afraid for you lest I've labored for you in vain. And so now he's saying, I'm again in birth pains until Messiah is formed in you. So he's saying that they've turned back, they've turned away, and they're not turned toward Messiah. So in Messiah, in him and through his blood, you have a redemption when you receive him, when you're in him, when you take on him and his ways. You're in him, and then your past sin is justified. You're saved from that sin. You have salvation at that moment. Now you're to work out your salvation with fear and trembling, as he says in another place. So there's always this continuing to do something. You can't get it on your own. You get it in him, but once you got it, now you have an onus to walk in it. And so he wishes to be present with him and to change his voice, because he wants to He wants to be more stern with them, to show them the error of their ways and bring them back. Say to me, verse 21, say to me, you who wish to be under Torah, do you not hear Torah? You wish to be under the law, do you not hear the law? So, under the law here, he's talking about that they're going to not have the freedom from the law in Messiah, because Messiah paid the death that the law requires. Not that they're free from keeping the law. I mean, that's just ridiculous. That goes back to what we've talked about before, like with the speeding law. When you get a ticket, now you're under the law. You're under that law. And you have to abide by the statutes of that law. And if you don't, then you're going to get locked up. But when you have paid the penalty, and the penalty has been paid, now you're free from the law. And so this is what he's going to keep getting into here, that when you go under the law, now you're under its punishment. But when you're in Messiah, you're free from its punishment, free from the law. For it has been written that Abraham had two sons, one by a female servant or bondservant, the other by a free woman. But he who was of the bondservant, female servant, was born according to the flesh, and he of the free woman through promise. This is allegorical, for these are the two covenants. One indeed from Mount Sinai, which brings forth slavery, which is Hagar. For this Hagar is Mount Sinai in Arabia, that corresponds to Jerusalem, which now is in slavery with her children. But the Jerusalem above is free, which is the mother of us all. So this seems to be very condemning of the law, but there's more going on here than what our modern 21st century minds recognize. And so verse 24, this is allegorical, for these are the two covenants. Okay, so two covenants. The covenant doesn't have anything to do with the law. The covenant is on top of the law. The law is the rules of the covenant, but the covenant has to do with if one party does this, the other party does that. And so the covenant from Mount Sinai, the old covenant, it says it brings forth slavery, because there were all these washings and there were all these sacrifices that had to be made continually for sin, and all of this, so the blood of bulls and goats and all of that, it was a type of bondage. The law itself was freedom, but the covenant was a type of bondage because it kept them bound up in all these things. But in Messiah, this is the sacrifice of the Lamb once for all. And so this Mount Sinai in Arabia corresponds to Jerusalem, which now is and is in slavery with her children. But the Jerusalem above is free. So the Jerusalem above is that which is in Messiah. And in Messiah, you're free from all of the things of the covenant that bound you to being able to stay on top of the law because you had broken it. Now in Messiah, his sacrifice once for all, that blood is applied to us, to our lives in the heavenly sanctuary, and we are free from the law, its punishments. But if we continue breaking the law, then we're a law breaker, and those punishments will come back on us because we fall from grace. For, as has been written, rejoice, O barren, you who do not bear. Break forth and shout, you who do not have birth pains. For the deserted one has many more children than she who has a husband. And brothers, as Yitzchak was, we are children of promise. But as he who was born according to the flesh then persecuted him who was born according to the Spirit, so also now. So those who are not of the children of promise, those who are in the old days of Israel, there were many more other than Israel. The barren had more children. There were more than Israel. And he says, but as he who was born according to the flesh and then persecuted him, born according to the Spirit, so also now. So even now, he's saying at his time and even now, those who are of the Spirit are lesser than those who are of the world. But what does the scripture say? Cast out the bondservant and her son, for the son of the bondservant shall by no means be heir with the son of the free woman. So those who are in Messiah become those of the free woman, and that those are the ones who are free from the law, from its punishments, and that we can be born again just as he was born, without sin, and then walk it out just like he did. Therefore, brothers, we are not children of the bondservant, but of the free woman. Psalm 89:34. My covenant I will not break, nor alter the word that has gone out of my lips. If you like the video, give us a thumbs up. Comment down below. Comments of opposition are welcome. Just don't say anything dumb like we're not under the law. We're under grace because you've been taught to use that verse outside of the bounds of its intended context. Subscribe now. Hit that subscribe button and ring that bell so that you get notifications of all future videos.